Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drag Queen Game and Sunny Mountain Twitter, the Gaming Drag today. I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Conway, Wolf's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Let's see, what was that? Oh, that's right, y'all, one second. Seems like I consistently make that mistake now. Keep loading up the previous version, so alright, let's go ahead and jump in. I am not entirely sure where we left off, because there's two saves here, and they are for the exact same a day at the exact same time. Alright? Well, let's... There we go. Okay, I think it's that one right there. Okay. The morning in the galley is a sullen one, with every member of the crew wearing the signs of the earlier rush now that things have calmed down and the adrenaline left their bodies. For you, though, there isn't a shred of weariness that remains, almost as if your body realizes that it can't allow you to be tired for the next few days. Not if you want to actually stay on the ship. Or perhaps it's the guilt that is your own greatest enemy to slumber, knowing that this was all your fault. Every so often there's a large, ominous boom, from where and what in the ship you lack knowledge, never mind experience to tell. But it's usually followed by the wet splash and trickle of water, which for the first couple of times made you fear the ship was about to go under. You push yourself through the ship from one steadying beam to the next, passing a few hammocks and almost falling over a wayward box that slides across the ground. The air in the galley feels thick and tense, filled with the sour scent of their resentment. Word must be getting around. Few make even as much as eye contact with you, preferring to drift around you like a flotsam. Flotsam and jetsam? Their seemingly effortless avoidance is in fact terribly deliberate, a practice undoubtedly well owned for such a cramped vessel, a practical defense that stops anything boiling over. But by the fourth or fifth deep breath, the silence towards you becomes sickening. Can't they just shout at you, beat you even? And just do something to get over it. Anything other than bury their anger and let it smolder. Even Nomax barely talks, though you could only imagine that the reason he hasn't doubled over emptying his stomach is that there's nothing left in there to begin with. That feeling is coiling underneath your tongue, goading you to be the first to say something. But as tempting as the thought is, you hold your tongue. They're right to treat you this way, after all. Still, it's hard. Thoughts of home are tugging at every sluggish heartbeat. The cool, sweet spring breeze, the warble of songbirds, the smell of freshly cut hay in the long summer days scything the wheat. Taking a bath in the clear stream behind the mill while watching the sunset. What you've given up for. This. The lump in your throat stubbornly remains as you sit down at the table. Perhaps you had made a mistake long before what happened today. It's an inescapable feeling, and one that both breakfast and the unceasingly cheery air of its creator fails to alleviate. Come on, cheer up! A bowl thuds down on the table in front of you, followed by the usual cheerful demeanor of Bandil. Even a storm doesn't dampen his spirits, but perhaps a storm does dampen his creativity. Dog's body again? Excuse you, dog's body? With molasses. And I added some ship's biscuits as well, but I doubt you'll go crazy over those, so I won't mention it. I know this is not my best, but I promise when we make port the next couple of days, I'll be about to wow you with all the delightful spices the bazaars can offer. Virginia here already told me that she'll show me the best market in the city. The hare's velvet nose quivers in excitement. Tea time. Oh, yeah. You know I'm getting kicked off at the next port, right? The hare huffs and bats you with a paw. Poppycock, as if! Don't just take my word for it. You shrug, trying to do your best to hold back your sour mood. Sure, you'd spoiled the feelings of the rest of the cruise, but at least Bandil hasn't turned on you. And the reason the ship got caught in the storm. What? You conjured it all by yourself? He points to the planks above. Given Bandil's usual playful demeanor, it's hard to tell whether he's joking with you or not. Perhaps that's the point. Didn't realize we had a wizard on board. My man, storms happen. I fell asleep on the weather watch. Oh, I did hear about that now you come to mention it. The hare nods, stroking his chin. Well, it's just a little seawater. Ships got in storms all the time. And you'd think sailors were allergic to getting wet with how often we moan about it. I wouldn't let it get to you. It's not about the crew in general, but Arthur. You poke at the dull lump squatting in your bowl, half hoping it might taste miraculous despite appearances. You could do with some proof that such things were possible, after all. Is that so? Yes. He's the one who wants me out of his sight as fast as possible. You speak through a sigh, half from homesickness and half from forlorn thoughts of home. How naive you were. Well, will you just roll over and accept it? Bandil shifts, straightening his back. That wasn't my plan, no. You mutter as you chew your mouthful. Then what's the plan? Well, try something, I guess. I've yet to figure out what exactly, but I guess anything that raises my status and the perception of Arthur will do. It's more frustration that's dragging me down, Bandil. Frustration that I even have to deal with this in the first place. Good, I think the story-eyed stray. All adventures on the ocean in his eyes that I met that first night and still present. I'm not so sure about that. It still feels like that urge for adventure is only hanging on by a thread. You must have had your fair share of them, Bandil. Disappointment was only second to the bitterness that lingered in your mouth. It made the food taste even worse. This would have worked out fine if it wasn't for Arthur. Bandil scoots closer, taking advantage of the lull between watches to join you on the opposite bench. This close, you can spot a few familiar faces begin to trickle in. But judging from the food on display, there are no rush for Bandil to finish with you. Oh, of course! I may not be up on the deck or clambering the sails with the sea breeze coursing through my fur, but I've met plenty of people in my travels. You don't strike me as someone that quits on their dreams. But if you did, you wouldn't have set foot on this ship in the first place for the reasons you did. You talk like you've seen a lot of the world. You temper your tone, hoping your questions don't come off as rude or condescending. It's just hard to imagine, given you've already seen the hair busy in the kitchen below deck. Food's one of the world's great uniters, James. It brings the world to you, and you to the world. Bandil leans forward and holds his hands in his head in his paws, a dreamy expression flickering over his eyes. How else could a cook like me come to be so far from home? Perhaps my dreams aren't particularly grand, but it's fascinating to discover the world as a cook. Sometimes you just gotta push through, despite what the rest of the world tells you. You'll make a fine sailor, I'm sure. No offense, but I don't think you're the best advice when it comes to sailing. You don't want to sound ungrateful for his company, but there's a fine line between hope and senseless optimism, and you don't really want to discover the cheeky hair on the latter. Of course not, but it's in the spirit I give such advice. Before you can say anything more, Samuel walks over and sits down by your side, having been served his ration by another member of the gallery with Regia in tow. Yet the maned wolf acknowledges your presence with a terse huff, the usual scent of their fur smelling heavily of salt water. Look who it is, Raj. You don't look as well rested as you should. What gives? Funny. I assume you know then. Of course, it's not going to stay a secret on the ship for long. Someone always sees or hears it from somewhere. Regia shuffles onto the same table, followed by Nomax not long after. They all seem more or less devoting their energy to attacking their food, but eventually Samuel picks up on your half-hearted chewing. If you're not going to finish that, I'll have it. Tough morning topside? Sam just looks at him for a moment or two. How do I look? Like someone who had a tough morning. Samuel shrugs and rolls his eyes. Didn't see the end of it. It must have been at least several leagues wide and kept shifting on us. So there was no avoiding it, really. When that fails to bring a flash of relief across your face, Samuel nudges you with his elbow. You're supposed to smile at that. I'm not feeling it. Don't tell me you're feeling seasick like the dog over here. No. Nomax perks up as he hears himself mentioned. I'm fine. Ish. Only a little bit queasy. He's staying close to the center of the ship on Doctor's orders. You sigh. I'm just not really feeling it. An army marches on its stomach. Same principle for a ship at sea. The hare grins, giving your bowl an encouraging nudge. It's not pretty food, but I tell you, it gives you the energy you need to keep going, even during rough seas. Maybe a little... maybe a little sugar, or cinnamon even would help it make it slide down easier. Taking y'all, water time. Alright, guys and gals, and we are back. Let's jump back into it, shall we? Okay. Samuel chews away, working through the mush of peas with evident practice. Yeah, well, you better become one of the gentlemen if you want either of those over molasses. I can do my best, but I can't work miracles. You'll find some in port. The mood goes quiet as they skirt around the obvious, tempering any signs of excitement the two of them might have had about port. It still comes across, however. Hopefully we'll get a decent budget to purchase supplies at this time. The hare shrugs. Yeah, I doubt our smartly dressed friend over there is overly thrilled. You probably should go see him. Is he eating with you today? Not with a gentleman? Yes, I prefer to stay here rather than go back to their cabin. The hare nods, shooting off to tend to him and prepare Nomax a ration of the crew's breakfast. Hope you don't mind the simpler fare. It'll fill you up either way, though. I will happily take it over expelling what I eat into a bucket. Samuel even slides up against you, patting you on the back gently. How you holding up? What do you think? Samuel looks over to Brigia, catching her eye. I get it, but seriously, you think this is the first time a landsman has ever fallen asleep on weather watch? Or that a ship has been caught in a storm? They're shunning me. Now it's not just Arthur, but the others as well. Doesn't feel like it'll become any easier to convince him now. He complained, pointing out the sullen nature of the rest of the crew. No, they're shattered from having to jump to it and fight with the storm all morning just to stay on a safe course. He hopped back in early while they had to finish the remaining sails. Not saying that you stopping early was wrong, of course, but it means you missed the rough stuff. Take it from me. But also, you can't just keep fucking moaning about Arthur, man. He takes your half-empty bowl and begins hoovering up your leftovers. As a friend, I'm with you. He sighs. As a sailor, you stop the bitching and moaning and just get on with it. So if you want to do that, you actually have to behave the part. I'm sorry. I know. He pauses, ears twitching. Reluctantly, he pulls his bowl back in front of him and starts chewing away once again. You consider quietly finishing the remaining spoonfuls of breakfast before another shuddering taste of the gruel leaves you wishing for any distraction. You know, James, you're not the only one who's ever had some bad days. Well, I know that. No, stick with me here for a moment. The hare taps his foot, frowning while he tries to think back. You know, food's rarely a dangerous thing, but still, I've had some rough days myself. You don't get as good as a cook as I have without some. Please, don't be too humble. But there was a time way back in South Africa when I was still young and learning. He looks back and draws a seat on the bench, huddling closer. I don't really want the rest of the crew to doubt my skills, but I think this might cheer you up. Bendil takes another look at the half-eaten bowls in front of him. But to his relief, everyone resists the urge to comment. Anyway, there's a lot to learn when it comes to food. Even if you can read, not everything that's written down is entirely helpful. Bendil sighs and shakes his head, his shoulders shrugging too. Still a novice and had barely mastered a handful of recipes. If I had mastered any at all. The chef at the local station came down with some illness that had him lay flat for a while, so I figured now was my time to shine. If I could just keep things running, surely I'd get recognized as the budding chef that I knew I was. And hey, I mostly did, except there was this one dish. The hare shakes his head again and bites his lip as if the memory still irks him. They told me they wanted to try something local. You know, that they were all caught up in the adventure, and instead of wanting something from home in the usual style, they asked me for something hot. You see, they were pretty adamant after they saw the rack of spices hanging on the wall, and sometimes people just can't be dismayed. Oh no. Samuel smirks, nudging you with an elbow. Even Regia let the ghost of a smile creep across her muzzle. Oh yes, they wanted it. I told them. They said they would settle for nothing less. He continued like that for at least 10 minutes until I was tired of arguing and figured, fine, if you want to try, I've warned you. Bandil gives a muted laugh. They used a fraction of the spice, and it still practically blew their heads off. I could still see them panting frantically, tongues hanging out of their muzzles like they were on fire. Bandil shrugs, ignoring the others as they chortled away. And that is how I learned that I should never let you lot dictate what I'll be making. It never ends well, because, and I say that in the most endearing way possible, you sailors are dumb as rocks sometimes. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!